Yes, earlier we talked about the 6 benefits of having an open heart. Now we're going to share a little bit of some things that I wrote down in regards to once your heart is open, some 4 ways or 4 tips that you can help to maintain that open heart. So remember, we're talking about hearts and heart walls again. Being a heart wall specialist for many years, what I've discovered is that um, being able to connect with the subconscious mind, which is really is where your story is, and being able to ask if you do have a heart wall or you do have a wall around your heart. And again, these are invisible walls. We usually create a heart wall to protect ourselves from being hurt. However, over time, the more emotions or unprocessed emotions we add to this heart wall, the more it can become a negative thing in the sense that it can cause things like chronic pain, can cause issues in relationships, it can cause lack of success in life or in business. It can affect organs, glands, chakras, nerves, muscles, because a lot of these emotions are tied into these various organs or glands. For example, the kidneys can generate things like fear, or can generate things like fear or conflict. And the kidneys connect to all the muscles of your upper back, your neck, and your jaw. They also connect to some of your core muscles. Again, kidney bladder connection. They also connect to all the muscles that run from the base of your spine all the way up to your back of your neck. So any one of these issues, any issues in those areas could be due to these unprocessed emotions that are caught up in this energetic heart wall. Another thing about heart walls is that we can actually ask your subconscious if you have one or not. And quite often, if I do get a no, I ask if you have a hidden one, because sometimes some things are hiding in there. And once we identify that it's been hidden, then it has to show itself. In other words, it has to come up from your subconscious into our conscious awareness. And that's when we can really work with it and help you release these emotions. The other thing is that we can also test to see how thick of emotions is this heart wall. In other words, each emotion that you trap in this heart wall takes up a certain amount of space. And that space that it takes up can actually be measured. Remember, we're working with your subconscious. It knows everything about you. It knows if you have a heart wall or not. And 93% of people have heart walls. And I believe if we didn't have heart walls, there'd be no more war, for one thing. Not only that, we'd all be much happier, have a much sense of inner peace and calm. Again, living from our heart, coming from our heart is really what we were designed to do, not so much from our head. So we can actually measure heart wall. As a matter of fact, the smallest heart wall that I released over the years was with a baby in the womb. It was only a couple inches thick of a couple of emotions in there. And again, yes, we can start building these heart walls while we're in the womb. We can get them from emotions from receive them from our mother, or pick up emotions from our mother when we're in the womb, and that could start a little heart wall. We can also inherit emotions from our father and mother, and these can go back generations. These can be things that are passed down from one generation to the other. And sometimes if you have children, for example, you can pass some of these on to your children or your children's children. Also, you can, with these inherited ones, these are like generational cycles. So sometimes we can go back 5, 10, 15, 20 generations where these emotions were passed down. And sometimes they can begin a heart wall. The biggest heart wall I ever released on someone was 89 miles thick of emotions. Now, again, one emotion could take up a foot of that heart wall energetically. Another one could take up 100 feet, 1,000 feet. We never know until we actually work on your heart wall and help to release your heart wall. And the other thing is with these heart walls is that because they are baggage around your heart, think about this. Your heart generally has a field around it, a holographic field around your heart, and it extends out to 12 feet in diameter around your heart. The other thing is that we know, and it's been proven, that if you send love to someone, even if they're 500 miles away, it'll record in their brain. So imagine if you're sending love to someone, maybe it is a child or a friend or a family member, and you're sending love to them, even if they're 100 miles, 500 miles away, it has to go through all these layers. Maybe there's some fear, some anger, some depression, some frustration, some heartache, some anxiety, whatever it is, it has to go through these unprocessed emotions before it comes out the other side. And if someone is sending love to you, it has to come, when it comes to you, it has to go through all these layers of emotions to get to you. So that's why having an open heart is important, because you're able to give and receive more love. You're able to be more creative. Remember, our source of love and creativity is in the heart. It's not here, it's in the heart. So it's very important, once we release a heart wall for you, and we do that energetically from a distance. That's where 99% of my work has been for many years. Once we identify if you have a heart wall and we release one, then it's important to be able to maintain that open heart. And here's 4 ways you can maintain that open heart. Number 1 is practice gratitude. So regularly reflect on the positive aspects of your life. So reflecting on those positive aspects, it's really easy to get caught up on all the negative stuff, especially in today's world, but reflect on those positive aspects of your life. Pretty well every day in our life, there's something positive that happens. Also, you can keep a gratitude journal to document things that you appreciate. A lot of people do this, where every day they write down at least 1 or 2 things that they're grateful for. Maybe it was having a wonderful meal. Maybe it was spending time with a loved one. Maybe it was just being outside and getting to join nature. So practicing gratitude is a great way to maintain an open heart, and focus on the present moment and savor the simple joys in life. And a lot of times it's the simple things that bring us pleasure, that bring us joy. I mean, maybe it's a beautiful sunset. Maybe it's a conversation that you had with a friend or a family member. Those are things to savor. So practice gratitude. That's one way of maintaining your open heart. The other one, and we talked before about this when we talked about the benefits of an open heart, is cultivate empathy again. Listen actively to others and try to understand their perspective. Again, we're all different. And that's one thing I found in the thousands of people I've worked with over the years. The one thing that I found that was the same with every one of them is that we're different. On some level, we're all a little different. Again, you could have 5 kids in a family all raised in the same environment, and they're all different. So listen actively to others and try to understand things from their perspective. Another one I've called a way of cultivating empathy is put yourself in others' shoes to develop a deeper sense of connection. Imagine walking down the street sometime and seeing someone there who's kind of down and out. You know, some of you have experienced this, and sometimes you can relate to them on some level. That putting yourself in their shoes sometimes helps you to gain or cultivate your empathy. So again, empathy is more about understanding. It's not about it's not so much about feeling sorry for someone, but it's more about feeling empathy. And that's an important thing to cultivate. Engage in acts of kindness and support for those around you. So people that are empathetic, and I know a lot of you are that I'm speaking to here, even practicing 1 act of kindness a day can help to develop and cultivate your empathy. The other one is to embrace vulnerability. Share your feelings and thoughts with trusted individuals. So again, sharing your feelings and thoughts with trusted, maybe it's a partner, maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's a good friend, maybe it's a sibling. Be open to expressing your true self. without fear of judgment. And that's a difficult one, because a lot of times, I know I've been there myself, when I express some of my own feelings, and especially some of my deeper feelings. Sometimes it makes me feel a little vulnerable to do that. But when you're with the right person in the right situation, especially like good friends will not judge you. They'll listen to you. They'll allow you to express your true self. And by doing that, again, it's another way of embracing your own vulnerability, because we're all vulnerable about something, maybe more than one thing. Accept that imperfections are part of being human and can lead to growth. Everybody has issues, even the Dalai Lama. That's part of being a human, is dealing with daily things. It's a constant balancing act. So accept that imperfections are part of being human and actually can help lead to your own growth. To realize that we're all imperfect in some way. That's just, again, part of being human. So embrace vulnerability and practice mindfulness. Engage in meditation or deep breathing exercises regularly. I especially love the deep breathing, and I'll share a little something with you on that in a minute. The breath of life. Stay present in each moment. Letting go of worries about the past or the future. And that's what releasing a heart wall will do. It helps you going to let go of some of those worries or those negative emotions or thoughts or ideas that you're still carrying from the past. Again, one of my oldest clients was 106 years old. And she told me that, she said, John, I've been through a very challenging life. I had a very difficult childhood. Maybe some of you can relate. I went through a lot of issues in my life, a lot of problems. However, now I'm at that age where I really want to find that place of inner peace. I want to let go of some of that baggage that I've been carrying for all those years. So it was interesting when we did release her heart wall, and it took a few sessions. Her whole attitude changed. Not only that, she said, this is the first time in my life I've really felt some sense of calmness or inner peace. Who would like that, eh? So practice mindfulness, stay present, let go of worries about the past and the future. One of my mentors had mentioned to me years ago, he told me, he said, you cannot predict the future, but you can go back and connect the dots. So we do not know what's ahead of us or before us in the future, but we can certainly go back and connect the dots. And guess what? Your subconscious, all those dots there are in your subconscious mind. Develop a sense of self-awareness to understand your emotions and reactions better. So be more self-aware about your own emotions and reaction. Sometimes we react in situations where maybe it might be better for us to respond in those situations. So again, practice gratitude, cultivate empathy, embrace vulnerability, and practice mindfulness. Those are all ways that you can maintain an open heart. And here's a couple little other tips. When it comes to hearts, whenever you're in a situation or you want to really make that connection with your heart, one of the simplest and easiest ways to do that is just to step back. Step back from that situation or that whatever you're involved in. Step back for a moment. Place your hands softly over your heart. And I'm not talking a lot of pressure, just light pressure over your heart. You actually feel more with a lighter pressure than you do with a heavier pressure. I know as a massage therapist for many years, some of the most powerful work I did was hardly touching that person. And so place your hand over your heart gently. Close your eyes. Take 3 or 4 nice deep breaths. In for the count of 3, out for the count of 4. Just really connect with your heart. Think about your heart while you're doing it. Putting all your energy into your heart. And you'll be amazed at how much that will benefit you, how much calmer you're going to feel, more relaxed. Great way to reduce stress. So that's one way you could do it again, is again, placing your hand gently over your heart, practice some deep breathing. I like to close my eyes because, I don't know, for me, it allows me to feel things a little bit better. And the other one is hugging. How many people here like to hug, right? I know we do a lot of hugging in our family, and we never did when we were younger, but as we got older, we realized how important hugging is. And there's different ways you can hug. But one of the ways I learned to hug in order to connect heart to heart, and you can practice this at home, practice this with your spouse or your kids or your friends, is when you approach someone to hug, if you have your right arm up, then they're going to be putting their right arm up to sort of so that you can embrace, right? When you're hugging. And you try that just with your right arm up, try a gentle hug and just really feel, connect to the heart while you're doing that. And then try this way when you're approaching someone for a hug. Raise your left arm up. So then they'll have to raise their left arm up as well. Now, when you hug with your left arm up, now you're connecting heart to heart. So hugging with your left arm up. When you approach for a hug, put your left arm. And when you hug, you're going to connect more heart to heart. So that's a real simple way that you can connect hearts to heart as well. So again, 4 ways to maintain an open heart: practice gratitude, cultivate empathy, embrace vulnerability, and practice mindfulness. So I hope you enjoyed our little talk here today. Thanks for being